Good evening and welcome to Primetime News, coming to you live and direct from the Newsfirst studios here in Colombo. I'm Bernadine Jai Singha. Let's now take a look at headlines.
Ready to provide leadership to overcome any challenges, President tells the nation in Independence Day address.
බලාපොරොත්තු වන්නේ මේ සියලු අර්බුද කළමනාකරණය කරගෙන රට ඉදිරියට මෙහෙයවීම මිස ප්‍රශ්න වලින් පලා යාම නොවේ.
Samagi Jana Balawege MPs, including opposition leader, boycott Independence Day.
අද දවසෙත් අපිට සිද්ධ වෙලා තිබෙනවා නිදහස් සටන් ගණනාවක් දියත් කරලා ජනතා අයිතිය තහවුරු කරන හැම නිදහසක්ම නැවතත් වරක් දිනා ගන්න.
Amanda opens clean water project in rural Anuradhapura to mark Sri Lanka's 74th Independence Day. No fuel for Kalanidissa power plant until diesel tanker arrives on the 7th. Hydropower capacity drops to 32%. IMF ready to discuss options with Sri Lanka if support is requested. Cardinal goes to the Colombo Crimes Division. Discussions continue on resolving issues of fishermen in the north. Fishermen continues protests.
Sri Lanka's 74th Independence Day celebrations were held at the Independence Square in Colombo today. In his address, President Gotabaya Rajapaksa said he is willing to provide the leadership required by the country to overcome any challenge.
Celebrated its 74th Independence Day today under the theme "An Affluent Tomorrow and Prosperous Motherland with Challenges Overcome." The ceremony had been organized in line with health guidelines considering the COVID-19 pandemic. The Inspector General of Police, commanders of the Tri-Forces and the Defence Secretary were among those present. Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa and former President Maithripala Sirisena also attended the event. President Gotabaya Rajapaksa then marked his arrival at the ceremony. A 2-minute silence was observed in memory of the fallen war heroes after the national anthem was sung and the Jai Mangala Gatha were recited. The President addressed the nation after a gun salute was accorded on him by the Tri-Forces.
Today Sri Lanka is a free, sovereign, diplomatic country. We are its proud citizens. Every Sri Lankan citizen, irrespective of any community or religion, has the right to live freely and safely anywhere in the country today. There is freedom to practice the religion of their choice. There is freedom to hold independent opinions and express ideas. There is full media freedom in the country. When steering the country in the right direction, we know that the support of each and every person in the country cannot be expected. We are not ready to abandon our plans for the country's future prosperity by looking upon those who will not change. Our objective is to do what is right by the country and not to please everyone.
The President commented on the challenges faced when governing the country.
A nation's leader has to constantly face many difficulties, calamities, problems and challenges. Leading a team towards a vision is not easy. Changing the existing ways, no matter how good your intentions are, is not easy either. On certain matters, both local and foreign forces organize against us. What the people expect from leaders is to manage all these crises and take the country forward, but not to escape from problems. I am always ready to provide the necessary leadership to overcome any challenge facing the country.
The president also commented on foreign investments to the country.
Investment is an essential factor in the development process of our country. We need both local investments as well as foreign investments. People need to be more vigilant of those who attempt to propagate incorrect public opinion against foreign investments based on political motives.
The president also said that the people should act prudently always.
If we are to win over the challenges before us and accomplish our future goals successfully, then all of us have to make a change. As the president of the country, I am ready to set the necessary example for it. I ask all ministers, parliamentarians and other politicians to act in an exemplary manner for the country at all times. Forces against a national leadership that values our indigenousness and protects the country's sovereignty are subtly misleading the people through various false propaganda. I urge the people of this country to always act prudently. No one can mislead the people if they make inquiries based on fact, ascertain the truth and make decisions.
The president also commented on matters surrounding human rights.
We are a nation that safeguards the rule of law and respects international conventions. Although some parties have attempted to make various allegations against Sri Lanka for narrow motives, the government has not condoned any type of human rights violations and will not leave room for such incidents in future either. Today we have secured national security as promised by the government to the people.
The president invited all people on a journey that would be carried out within the government's policy framework.
There have been no changes in the policy framework we presented in regard to priorities we identified, such as green agriculture, promotion of renewable energy use, education reforms compatible with the modern day world, encouragement of local entrepreneurship, export diversification and value addition, and the promotion of technology use for a new leap in the economy. No matter what the obstacles are, if the majority of the people in our country are optimistic about the future and give their due contribution, we will be able to achieve those goals. I wholeheartedly invite all patriotic Sri Lankans to unite to build a proud nation that has achieved the true meaning of freedom.
The Independence Day parade began after President Gotabaya Rajapaksa addressed the nation. Aircraft and helicopters of the Sri Lanka Air Force also carried out a flypast, adding more colour to the Independence Day parade. Military equipment used by the Army, Air Force and the Navy were also included into the parade.
ශ්‍රී ලංකා කාලතුවක්කු හමුදාව සතු වැඩිම දුරක් වෙඩි තැබිය හැකි මිලිමීටර් 130 වර්ගයේ කාලතුවක්කුවයි. මිලිමීටර් 122 මල්ටි බැරල් රොකට් ලොන්චර් අවියයි. දැන් සන්නද්ධ රථපෙළ පාළිය සඳහා එක්වන්නේ. විදුලි හා යාන්ත්‍රික ඉංජිනේරු බලකාය දේශීයව නිෂ්පාදනය කරන සන්නද්ධ රථයි දැන් ගමන් කරන් ආසියානු රටවල් අතරින් ලෝක සෞඛ්‍ය සංවිධානයේ ප්‍රථමයෙන් ලියාපදිංචි වූ යුද හමුදා ශ්‍රේණික වෛද්‍ය ප්‍රතිකාරයකගේ ඔවුන් නියෝජනය කරනවා. පෙළ පාළියට එක්වන්නේ යුද හමුදාවේ ප්‍රථම විශේෂිත ඒකකයේ ලෙස ආරම්භ කළ මොබයිල් ඇඩ්ජස්ටබල් රෑම් සිස්ටම් හෙවත් මාස් රථ. ශ්‍රී ලංකාවේ මෙන්ම දකුණු ආසියාව තුළ ඇති එකම සංග්‍රාමික ප්‍රහාරක ධාවන ප්‍රතිබලගෙන ඉවේ. වෙඩි පාලන දත්ත සැපීම සඳහා යොදා ගන්නා එන්සීස් පද්ධතිය රැගත් රථයක්. ගුවනේ කිලෝමීටර් 7.2 දක්වා ඉලක්කයන් ගත හැකි. මිලිමීටර් 37 වර්ගයේ අවිය රැගත් රථය, මිලිමීටර් 25 වර්ගයේ අවි ප්‍රදර්ශන රථය දැන් ප්‍රධාන පීඨිකාව ඉදිරියෙන් ගමන් කරයි. විශේෂඥ කිවිදුම් සහාය ලබා දෙන ශ්‍රී ලංකා නාවික හමුදා පුද්ගලයන් දැන් රථ පෙළ පාළියේ ගමන් කරයි. වේව් රයිඩර් වර්ගයේ වෙරළාරක්ෂක මුර යාත්‍රාව සහිත රථය දැන් පෙළ පාළියේ ගමන් කරයි. අධිතාක්ෂණික රිප් යාත්‍රාව රැගත් රථයයි.
ශ්‍රී ලංකා ගුවන් හමුදාව විසින් ආරම්භ කරන ලද නියමුවන් රහිත ගුවන් යානා Now we witness the Searcher Mark II and an indigenous product of the Lihinia. Jatika Guanarakshan Paddatihi, Sakriya Seven Yutu, Praharaka Guanyana Sandaha Yoda Ganulabu Bombe Saha, Misaila Anuru Pradashni Karatia Karya. Squadron leader Nipunahera Turagotaganamin Gaman Karnulabanava.
All regiments of the Sri Lanka Army took part in the parade. Navy and Air Force officers proceeded next on the parade. Also joining the parade were the police, special task force and civil security forces.
මාතෘභූමියේ හැම බිම්මංගලක් ගානේ සුරක්ෂිත කළ ගෞරවාන්විත යශෝදරීන්ගේ සම්ප්‍රාප්තියයි මේ සමස්ත සන්නද්ධ හමුදා ප්‍රවීණයෙනි ඔබේ පැමිණීම මේ සම්මාන පෙළපාලියට මේ මහත් ගෞරවයක්.
A cultural display was also on show at the celebrations.
Sri Lanka Navy honoured the nation by according a 25-gun salute on board the Sri Lankan naval ship Gajabahu by 12 noon today. The gun salute was accorded on board a platform for the second time after 72 years in the history of Sri Lanka Navy, subsequent to such naval honour presented way back in 1950 on board the HMCYS Vijaya.
In his Independence Day speech, Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa has said it is time to stand together to overcome challenges. Opposition leader Sajith Premadasa donated medical equipment worth 1.5 million rupees to Akaragam Hospital in Gampaha to coincide with the Independence Day. He had boycotted today's 74th Independence Day national celebrations. The medical equipment was donated under the Vipakshin Husmak program.
When speaking about independence, we can see that about 22 million people have lost their right to live. Today we have reached a point where we have to launch multiple struggles to ensure that the people's rights are protected. We know that the constitution contains the supreme law of this land. The government should be responsible for ensuring social security and welfare. This is the country's supreme law. We are fulfilling an important service to the people. We aim to ensure social security and welfare by donating this medical equipment. We won't be deterred by any group that doesn't act upon their words.
US Secretary of State Anthony Blinken has issued his wishes for Sri Lanka's Independence Day. He said prosperity, security and harmony can be increased if governments work together. The Chinese embassy in Colombo said Chinese President Xi Jinping had extended his warmest wishes to Sri Lanka and its people. The Chinese Premier had also said this year is a new starting point of the friendship and cooperation between the two countries. The Indian High Commission tweeted that it wishes Sri Lanka on its independence as its closest maritime neighbour and friend. The Russian embassy in Colombo tweeted that it wishes health, well-being, peace and prosperity to the Sri Lankan people. Maldivian President Ibrahim Mohammed Soli extended his wishes to the President, Prime Minister and the Sri Lankan people, whom he called cousins. The UK, Germany and Pakistan were among the countries that extended their wishes.
197 prisoners were granted presidential pardon in line with the 74th Independence Day. This includes 17 prisoners from the Valikada prison, 5 inmates from the Matara prison, 8 prisoners from the Gaul prison and 11 prisoners from the Bogambara prison.
A silent protest was held opposite the Valikada prison seeking the release of former MP Ranjan Ramanayaka. The protest was organized by the United National Self-Employed Entrepreneurs Association.
If they want to grant true freedom to the people, Ranjan, who spoke the truth, must be granted pardon. Ranjan will reveal those who are committing theft in the country, those who hold black money and those who have stashed dollars overseas. Grant Ranjan Ramanayaka the democratic freedom, and if you want to uplift the country, ask him who is carrying out theft and who is involved in fraud and corruption.
As Sri Lanka celebrated its 74th Independence Day today, the people of Nelumbila were free from their troubles to obtain clean drinking water. A water purification plant built by Gammadda was vested with the people to coincide with Independence Day.
People of Nelumbila in Mahavilachia, Anuradhapura woke up to a better and brighter future today as one of their long-standing needs were resolved. A water purification plant built by Gammadda was vested with the people in the village to coincide with Sri Lanka's 74th Independence Day celebrations today. Today, these villagers celebrated independence as they gained freedom from a problem that had been affecting them for several years. The 74th Independence Day was also celebrated in the village today with the attendance of state officials, army officers and the senior management of the capital Maharaja Group. The dignitaries were given a grand welcome at the event that was adorned with several cultural events. Mahavilachia Divisional Secretary Manjari C. Chandradasa hoisted the national flag as the event began. The water project is expected to benefit at least 650 families from 22 villages, including Nelumbila, who for several years have been battered by several issues. While the human-elephant conflict has continued to affect the villagers, the lack of clean drinking water has caused kidney diseases among more than 150 people. The water purification plant was built in just 3 months with financial assistance from the Tennyson and Vinita Rodrigo Trust Fund after the foundation stone was laid on the 6th of November. The Navy provided technical assistance for the project under the guidance of the Navy Commander, Vice Admiral Nishantha Ulukethanna.
I felt that the Independence Day celebrations that are limited to Colombo have reached the village of Nelumbila in Tantarimale. We need light when there is darkness. Similarly, we need clean drinking water when we don't have it. We need freedom when we don't have it. I wish to regretfully note that we have not been able to realize the true meaning of independence even 74 years later.
Gammadda has granted an opportunity for these isolated villagers to consume clean drinking water freely. They have laid the foundation required to make their lives brighter. It is the responsibility of the villagers to use this purification plant carefully, just like their property.
For the people of Nelumbila, access to clean drinking water is not an issue anymore.
Over in Morocco, a massive search operation is underway to rescue a 5-year-old boy who is stuck in a well. More details on this story will come your way after this break. The Energy Ministry says that the Kalanithisa power plant will remain without fuel until a diesel tanker reaches the country on Monday. The country's hydropower generation has already dropped to 32%. Data published by the Ceylon Electricity Board said there is limited fuel in thermal power plants.
Power cuts were reported in many areas, although the Ceylon Electricity Board has not made announcements to that effect yesterday. Why are power cuts being reported across the country? Although Sri Lanka's power demand at night stands at 2,650 megawatts, the CEB has only been able to generate about 2,276 megawatts. The CEB said that the Kalanitissa and Battala power stations had not generated power as they had run out of fuel. What are the people's thoughts on the power cuts?
පිනේ සොයන්ට කියාව කර හිටියේ. හෙට දෙන්න ඕන එක. දෙන්න විදියක් නැහැ. කියන්නේ නැතු කරන්ට් එක කැපුවා.
මේ අය දැනගන්න ඕන නේ මිනිස්සු මේ තරම් අමාරුවේ වැටලා ඉන්න වෙලාවේදීවත් මේ කටයුත්ත මේ පිළිවෙලට කරන්න එපායි කියන එක.
What are the trade unions saying about this? If they have imposed power cuts, although there are various means to produce electricity, it means the CPC does not have enough funds to purchase diesel. If they had stocks to be given today, then it would mean that they had intentionally not given it yesterday. This would have been done to bring disrepute to the government. Power stations that generate up to 340 megawatts are not functioning. Will we have to stay in darkness tonight? The tanker is not here. We don't feel that it would arrive on the 12th as they say. What is the Energy Ministry saying? The Energy Ministry Secretary KDR Olga said that fuel had been supplied to the CEB as agreed. The Secretary added that the power plants have run out of fuel before the estimated date, as more fuel has been used compared to the initial calculations. She added that the West Coast power plant had run out of fuel in 8 days despite being given fuel for 11 days. The Kalanitissa power plant had been given fuel to run until today. The Energy Ministry says that the Kalanitissa power plant will remain without fuel until a diesel tanker reaches the country on Monday. It added that providing more fuel to the Kalanitissa power plant before that would create a shortage of diesel.
The International Monetary Fund has said it is ready to discuss options with Sri Lanka if the government asks for financial support.
The International Monetary Fund's mission chief for Sri Lanka, Masahiro Nozake, had told AFP that the government has not requested for financial support. In a statement, he had said, quote, "The staff stands ready to discuss options if requested," unquote. Finance Minister Basil Rajapaksa recently said Sri Lanka had sought advice from the IMF and was considering seeking an international bailout. The mission chief said this was about an ongoing technical assistance mission by the IMF to strengthen the macro-fiscal unit at the Finance Ministry and focuses on training staff at the unit. He said the mission is being conducted virtually until the 9th of February.
Be it the International Monetary Fund or the World Bank, we have obtained loans of $30 billion. If we can't pay the debt, we must meet the lenders and ask them to defer the repayment. They must say they would abolish the laws that would allow money laundering, encourage investments, allow the rupee to float, and then pave the way for more than $400 million to come in as workers' remittances. If we import fertilizer, then we can export agricultural products and earn $2.4 billion. If we can show that the country would receive dollars, then the lenders will be confident that the debt would be repaid. But then they lie to India and tell another lie to China to cover up the initial lie. They go to the US to cover up both lies. Instead of working cordially with foreign nations, they obtain loans, tell lies, and make unachievable promises. That is what they are doing.
සුහදව ලෝකයේ අනෙක් රටවල් එක ගනුදෙනු කරනවා විනා ඒගොල්ලෝගෙන් සල්ලි අරගෙන ඒගොල්ලන්ට බොරු පොරොන්දු දීලා කරන්න බැරි පොරොන්දු දීලා නිකන් ඉල්ලන් කන්න ඕනේ නෑනේ. ඒක තමයි මේ කරගෙන යන්නේ.
Sri Lanka has to pay $6.9 billion in foreign debt this year, including an international sovereign bond worth $1 billion in July. While India is one of the main lenders to Sri Lanka, Indian media is reporting that Sri Lanka's Foreign Minister GL Peiris is to visit New Delhi between the 6th and the 8th of February. Citing an official, the Hindu newspaper reported that GL Peiris would make his first visit to India as Foreign Minister this month. The matters that would be discussed during the meeting remains unclear. Last month, India's External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar tweeted that he would agree to remain in close touch with his Sri Lankan counterpart.
Fishermen in Sri Lanka's northern region continued protests opposing the illegal entry of Indian fishermen into Sri Lankan waters. The protest launched by fishermen in Jaffna, also opposing the death of 2 fishermen off Wattirayan, continued for the 5th day today. The police today notified the protesters of an order issued by the Point Pedro Magistrates Court to halt any activity that disrupts the daily lives of the people. But the protesters held the demonstration without any hindrance, together with members of the Tamil National Alliance and the Tamil National People's Front. They also held a remembrance for the deceased fishermen.
Strict rules and regulations have been passed in Parliament to prevent such things from happening in our country. I am ready to file a case demanding that the law be enforced. All fishermen's associations gathered here should come forward.
A similar protest was held in Kilinochchi today. The National Fisheries Forum had organized a protest opposite the Kilinochchi Poonarine Fisheries Cooperative Society.
Archbishop of Colombo, His Eminence Malcolm Cardinal Ranjit, visited the Colombo Crimes Division today.
Archbishop of Colombo, His Eminence Malcolm Cardinal Ranjit, visited a suspect who was detained at the Colombo Crimes Division over the discovery of a hand grenade at the All Saints Church in Boralla.
Today, our Cardinal, His Eminence Malcolm Ranjit, came to visit that sacristan who found the bomb at All Saints Church. So his act, we must appreciate what he did, that Muni did, because he found the bomb. Otherwise there could have been a disaster in that church. Sometimes there will be some death also. We must appreciate it. Therefore, that is why His Eminence Malcolm Cardinal Ranjit came and visited him. At this time, we want to say that our freedom is so limited in our country. So his act of visiting this sacristan Muni tells an appeal all our leaders in our country to give real freedom to our people.
The Civil Aviation Authority says tourists can pay for their visas after arriving in Sri Lanka if they can't pay it using credit cards before reaching the island.
Electronic travel authorization permits a 30-day short visit visas issued for tourists visiting Sri Lanka. Tourists have the option of paying for it using credit cards before entering the country. The Civil Aviation Authority said some tourists may be unable to pay for the visas as the online system is being upgraded. It added that those tourists will be able to make the payments after arriving in the country. The cost of the visa ranges from $25 to $50. The Immigration Department says payments should be made at the airport in foreign exchange. Recently, the Central Bank had instructed tourists to pay hotels in foreign currency instead of converting it into rupees.
The Colombo District Court has ordered to issue summons on Tourism Chief Kimali Fernando and another official. They are required to present in court on the 16th of March for violating an interim order.
A company named Lanka Realty Leisure Private Limited had filed a case against the Sri Lanka Tourism Development Authority at the Colombo District Court. They had claimed that the Tourism Authority had cancelled an agreement to lease out a land in the Yala Tourism Zone for 99 years. The court had then imposed an interim injunction preventing the Tourism Authority from acting on certain documents, including cancelling the lease. However, the private company had filed a petition in court last year stating that the Tourism Authority had leased out the land to another party by violating the interim injunction. The court has issued an order to summon the Sri Lanka Tourism Development Authority's chairperson, Kimali Fernando, and Additional Director General, Anoma Nandani. They are required to be present in court on the 16th of March.
A French couple were rushed to hospital last evening after both fell off the Udarattamanike train while it was moving.
A French couple are in hospital after they fell off the Udarattamanike Colombo Badulla train last evening while travelling on the footboard. It was reported that a French woman had first fallen off the train and her boyfriend jumped after in order to save her. The French couple had fallen off the train between Ohia and Idalgas Hinna. Upon seeing this daring act, the passengers had decided to pull the emergency brakes in order to bring the train to a stop. The foreign couple was brought back to the train and were taken off at the Diatalava train station where emergency services were waiting for them.
Spanish energy giant Repsol has said the cleanup of the devastating oil spill in Peru would be completed by March.
Almost 12,000 barrels of crude oil spilled into the Sea of Peru last month as a tanker unloaded oil at a refinery owned by Spanish energy company Repsol. Repsol's Environmental Security Director Jose Terra had said the cleaning of beaches and islands off the coast will be completed by mid-March. However, he warned that it would take a little longer to finish cleaning cliffs and rocks that are difficult to access. Peru has demanded compensation from Repsol, and the energy giant faces a potential $34.5 million fine.
Efforts to save a child in Morocco who fell into a water well is nearing its end.
A child identified as a 5-year-old boy named Ryan had fallen into the well in Morocco's northern town of Tamrout. Ryan is believed to have fallen about 104 feet through a narrow opening. Rescue operations led by Morocco's Civil Protection Directorate have been ongoing since Tuesday. Footage from a camera lowered into the well showed that the boy remains alive and conscious. However, he appeared to be suffering from some minor head injuries. Rescue workers have lowered an oxygen mask, food and water into the well, and a medical team is also on site ready to treat the boy. By yesterday, rescuers reported they had dug down some 24 meters, but that around 6 meters still remained to reach the child. But authorities remain concerned that any interference with the well could accidentally hurt the boy by triggering a landslide.
Footage has surfaced of a wild elephant attacking a small car along a road in north-central Sri Lanka. The incident captured on video had taken place along the Habarana Polunadwa road. We leave you tonight with this story. With that, we wrap up Primetime News. I'm Bernadine Jayasinghe, and the interpreter for tonight is Taraka Gabriel. Good night. Take care.
2 people, including a child, were reportedly inside the car and managed to flee when the wild elephant launched its attack. They were not harmed, however the car was crushed by the pachyderm.